Hi, so welcome to part two of this special President's Day episode of Film Recommendations, coming to you live from my crummy place in Toledo. And technically it's not live, but it is a live recording. It's not scripted in any way. I'm doing this off the cuff. So what I have here is something that I've been waiting a long time to get. Uh, in the late 90s, early 2000s, a show came out uh, on the Sci-Fi Channel in the United States and the Sci-Fi Channel in Australia, and was produced by Hallmark Entertainment for Britain, Australia, and the United States primarily, and then was put into syndication um, in other countries around the world. And in its run, it was the most popular show on TV. The premiere uh, episode, which was actually the third episode shot for the series, was uh, one of the most watched. People did not know what to expect. They did not know what they were watching, and this show really blew people out of the water. The show is called Farscape, and I was able to find on Amazon the complete series for like 60% off the price, which was, needless to say, an incredible deal. Um, the individual DVDs of various episodes, fan favorites, and all that had been sold for years. Uh, and the miniseries that came out a couple years after the end of the series run, which brought all the events of the series to a close, called the Peacekeeper Wars, um, was a miniseries, but then it was also shown as a single movie. But at the same time, uh, while I was really relieved to see it, go out on the circulation, on the tape circulation for various networks, it was on Ion, uh, which is like some kind of Christian television network um, that tries to be secular. It was on Ion once, I think, and they were drumming it up and you know making a big deal out of it. But they failed to realize that by that time, first off, it wasn't its own story. It was the ending of a greater number of story arcs. So anyone who hadn't already seen the show wasn't going to get any real enjoyment out of it. So they would have had to show the entire series in order just to get anybody wanting to see the Peacekeeper Wars miniseries, which brought a close to it. But the plus side to them showing the series is that it's a good show. And as I've gone back and watched the episodes, it took me about 2 weeks, uh, both before and after work, to watch all the episodes. And in all honesty, it was hard to keep that much attention on them just because it's a very intense show. So there would be times when I would just pause it or I would hit stop and take a break and go do something else for a while. But this comes with like just about everything you'd want. It comes with some documentaries on a bonus disc that you know, frankly, they were ones that were produced at the time. Very little of it is actually posthumous material. On the second bonus disc, though, there is some stuff posthumously written and recorded about the show by cast and producers. So, all that being said, it's really something to be said because they talk about you have the actors discussing their characters mixed in with various clips that kind of summarize what the characters are like. Anyway, uh, it includes 88 episodes, and several of the episodes have commentary. Now, previously, I had only been able to pick up the first episode of the series, along with the second episode, which was actually, I think they said, the first episode shot. um, of the series. So anyway, it's just fascinating to finally see this out. And the beautiful thing about it is that while each episode is its own adventure in a lot of ways, there are several episodes where uh, it it tells the story of this greater arc. So it's a bit like a comic book in a continuing series of stories. That being said, uh, the characters are pretty easy to identify with, but it's also one of the few shows I think that actually took a realistic look at both space travel and aliens. It had the aliens dealing with their own logic, not human logic. They weren't comparative, or relative in their thinking to humans. They had a whole different set of values, and a lot of them were looking out for themselves. And uh, it's just interesting to really see, how it all actually fits together. Also, this was one of the only shows to deal with the events of September 11th in a realistic way. Not just saying, oh, it changed everything, oh, everything's different now. Uh, it actually put together, they actually talked about stuff happening and how it made human beings more suspicious and everything. And it raised some interesting questions about how exactly do you deal with terrorism? You don't have this united front against you that you can draw a united front against. It's individuals, it's small groups within society tearing each other apart. There's little that can really be done about that. And what's interesting is that this doesn't tell the story of some members of a military group, like with Star Wars: The Rebel Alliance, or with Star Trek, the Federation of Planets and Starfleet, and it doesn't cover that. It doesn't have captains and lieutenants and everything as the good guys. It actually has the military not so much as bad guys, but as kind of in a gray area where it depends on who's in command, who's giving the orders. If someone bad is giving the orders, then the orders are going to be bad. But more often, they're just looking out for the interests of themselves and their people. So all that being said, Farscape has the wonderful sense of moral ambivalence that you only really see in some shows like maybe Babylon 5, but I really want to say more like The Unit. Um, and as time goes by, the characters change and just grow and become different. And it's really interesting because the characters are more than just two-dimensional things, even the aliens. So I really recommend you check this out. It's available on Amazon and probably some copies on eBay, and you can see if you can pick one up at Best Buy or wherever finer DVDs are sold. Bye-bye.